when you see somebody on the ballot, locally, statewide, federally, federally, let's throw that away for a second, local and state, and they're not talking about childcare, you should raise your eyebrow and you should ask them why.
That's true. Yep.
Because if you want me to bring more life into this world, why are you making it harder for me to raise that life?
Yeah, it's so true. I'm really disheartened by a lot of the recent statistics that are coming out that women are leaving the workforce faster than ever right now because a lot of the pandemic-related flexible work options and remote work, it's all being rolled back. And unfortunately, women are bearing the brunt of child rearing in their household.
Yes.
And as a result are putting their financial independence in jeopardy.
Yes.
But it's almost like it's a forced choice. I feel like this government, this administration is really intent on putting us back to the 1950s where women are at home and are highly medicated in order to function because this shit is crazy.
Yep. I don't know if y'all seen Mad Men, if y'all don't know that show, but they're trying to take us back to Betty Draper. And I don't know if people know how Betty Draper ended her, like, that arc ended. She had, like, I think cancer. She was super sick and miserable, right? I don't want that for nobody.
No.
And I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, by the way. Like, I'm not saying everybody's going to get cancer if they go back home. But let me just clarify something that you just said. It is absolutely an intentional policy choice. And I think that that's kind of the thesis of the double tax. That a lot of the choices to make life more expensive for women, especially women of color, is on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? It does not have to be this way. I present a number of ways that can be reversed, right? We just talked about one where it's like, make childcare more affordable. How about you subsidize significantly the act of childbirth? How about you don't criminalize people who get abortions, right? Because some people need abortions in order to survive, right?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're completely right. There's just this like this extreme worldview on women, and just like, especially men just want to be policing our bodies when they don't even have any of the functioning parts that they want to control. It's like really creepy. Let's ask ourselves why.
Listen. And just on a point on men, right? I don't know if any men are listening to this podcast. You need to read a book like this. And let me tell you why. I think a lot of men say, if the book is about women, the women will read about the women. But the gag of the matter is, as a man, if you're trying to show up as a father, as a husband, as a grandfather, as an uncle, as a brother, as just a man in your community, you need empathy. And empathy.
You need to realize that it's your fellow brethren who are writing these laws. Okay?
It's
not us.
Listen, you need to understand how half of the population is living and how that population is being reflected in their experiences in your community, in your household. Yeah. One of the most important things about this book, at least for me, was in writing the book, I grew more empathy for my mom and my sister and the women in my life, right? Especially after the motherhood chapter and the caregiving chapter. I said, man, why was I asking so many questions or sometimes giving them hell? Like, I'm the baby of the family. So, it's a little sport, right?
That's kind of your job though.
Right. That's right. But I understood the decisions my mom made. I'm understanding the decisions my sister is making. But I think what was also simultaneously so important is that at some point my dad started asking me, what's this book about? I started talking him through some of these costs. He said, I didn't know you had to deal with that. This is a grown man who's very kind. I love my dad. But the fact that he even had something to learn at his big age, how much more you? You know what I'm saying?
Oof, you know what? I think us as a society, we just need to be a lot more curious about what it's like to not be our identities, right? Just like trying to understand the intersections that people exist in, and maybe that requires some curiosity, some compassion, some empathy, some ability to just relate to human beings who might be different than you.
That's right.
Like, go make some friends that don't all fucking look like you. Let's start there,
but actually,
get outside of your comfort zone.
Because I think also you're just a worse off human if that's your paradigm, That's what shapes your paradigm, right?
Yeah.
You don't understand how to relate to people who are different than you, which means
it's
that
so
go ahead.
dangerous too, because we're in a time where it's like so easy to find an echo chamber and just stay there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, you know, I had an opportunity recently to go on the streets of Philly, and I had to ask some folks, you know, do you think it's expensive to be a woman? And folks had a lot of opinions. Yeah, we in Philly. Shout out to Philly.
Yeah.
People said, I don't know about that feminist stuff. That feminist shit. That's what people were saying. Some people are like, absolutely, of course. Some men were like, you know, it's expensive to have a woman. It's expensive to, you know what I'm saying? All types. Y'all will, if you go and follow me on Instagram, y'all will see the video. It's hilarious. However, you know, I was with a group of women and they were worried at times like, oh, these men are talking to you or these different people are talking to you. And I said, no. Let them have space to talk, right? Like, this is not my lived experience, but hearing their lived experience, it better informs the way I show up in the world. And I can also find bits and pieces to empathize with to at least get them to understand my perspective too, right? This is sort of part of just being a human being that understands that they're part of a larger group of humans, right? Yeah. And making sure that you're not really ignoring people's lived experiences because you want to center your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So one thing that you mentioned as an area of focus was retirement. And I'm like, huh? Tell me more. How is the double tax playing into this?
So I want to read some numbers here if y'all don't mind.
Okay, please. We love data here.
So first and foremost, the double tax and aging shows up in a lot of different ways. One, there's sort of the cumulativeness of, I know that's not a word, my bad. The cumulative nature, yes.
Say whatever you want to say.
Of the double tax, right? So, you know, you have the double tax of beauty, the double tax of the home ownership, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these things will show up at the end of your life. Because if you had less wealth to pull from to buy your home and you're pulling from your 401k account, when you get to retirement, you don't got no money to pull from, right? And this is what happens, especially with Black and Latinos, right? Black and Latino folks, we're pulling quite a bit from our 401k accounts earlier in life. Yeah. So by the time we're getting ready to retire, there's not much to retire with. And so a lot of us are having to work till we die, right? And that's not really, I want to say it's not really our fault, so to speak, right? Because that's a function of the fact that there's a huge racial wealth gap, an ethnicity wealth gap between white folks and us.
Yeah, I've seen something as like 10 times as much potentially.
Let me give you some numbers. I'm going to have you guess something really quick. Ooh, okay. For every dollar a white man has in wealth, how many cents do you think Latina women have?
50 cents.
Wow. That's high.
Damn.
Let's go a little bit lower.
25?
Wow. Lower.
Oh my God.
Yes.
10?
Okay, you're close. It's 14 cents.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
14 cents for every dollar. We're not even talking like a fifth.
Yeah.
Less than a fifth. Okay. How about Black women?
I think it's worse.
You're right. It's 8 cents.
Gosh.
Single digits. So if we have that in the context of our brains, now let's talk about retirement. Retirement is really, at the end of the day, about, can I stop working and survive on retirement income, be it pension, Social Security, retirement savings? Yeah. And the reality is, if you have been pushed towards certain careers that don't have pension plans, that don't have good benefits, that are already not paying you a whole lot, right? That means that you rely quite a bit on Social Security. But as y'all know, there's a lot of pressure on Social Security right now because a whole lot of people are coming to that age, which means those payments are going to get smaller and smaller and at some point disappear if we don't do something about it, right? But in addition to that, that also means that the kind of retirement savings options you have are also a function of the type of career that you end up in, right? When we talk about, you see how everything's connected, right? When we talk about careers where Black and Latino women have proportional representation, that means that the representation is as much as how much we make of the current nationwide population. We have no representation in the top 10 highest paid careers as of 2019.